Hi, welcome to the Day 3 tutorials for Project Mars by Absidy LLC. Yesterday, in the Day 2 tutorials, we learned two strategies. The first was how to exit an impulse move using Project Mars, and the second was how to use Project Mars to clean up information given by other indicators to greatly reduce whipsaws and greatly increase certainty in the signals. Today we're going to be learning one very important strategy for Project Mars. This strategy is almost fully automated. You don't need to think at all. When you have it up and running and fully functioning, you can trade on autopilot. The first thing that we're going to need to recall for this strategy is how to set up alerts for Project Mars. Please go back to the end of the Day 1 tutorials to learn exactly how to set up alerts for Project Mars. Here we're looking at the one-day chart for Ripple. At the beginning of 2019, we had a short signal that was very profitable if we had entered it when it was forming. Because Project Mars has zero lag and very carefully looks at which information is very important to focus on, we can actually use the exact moment of a crossover in real time to determine whether or not we should actually be entering a trade. If we do that, we can actually set a risk to reward ratio that will follow very carefully. So in this example, let's say that when the blue lines cross over for short or for long, we're going to have a take profit of 10% and a stop loss of 10% also. That will give us a risk to reward ratio of 1. Since we know that Project Mars has a very high probability, we have to be right at least 50% of the time to begin making profit, which we think is no problem at all for Project Mars. So let's look at this example in greater detail for Ripple in the daily charts. So for the short signal that we got at the beginning of the year, we would have to put a take profit at 10% and a stop loss at 10%. The take profit is at the bottom of the green square, while the stop loss is at the top of the red square in this case. Next time price hits either one of these will determine whether we make a profit or a loss. In this instance, we made a 10% profit. Let's look at the next crossover that happened in the beginning of April. Here, again, if we entered the moment that we had the crossover signal in the daily chart, we would have again gone long because the light blue line went over the dark blue line and put our take profit 10% away from the place that we entered the market. Likewise, we would have put a 10% stop loss on our trade, so we have a risk to reward ratio of 1. Again, this would have hit our take profit and we would have netted an extra 10%. Thereafter, we had a short signal again, and if we put our take profit at 10%, which again is at the bottom of the green square, and our stop loss at the top of the red square, we would have hit our 10% take profit yet again, already in the middle of April. Then again, if we waited for a bullish signal to enter a long position, we would have waited until the 14th of May, where we had a huge impulsive move. If we waited for that crossover and entered the moment that we had that crossover, we would have put our take profit, which again is at the top of the green square, and our stop loss, which is again at the bottom of the red square. You can see that we would have very easily hit our take profit, already netting another 10% profit. Then, just after that, we would have actually had our first losing trade that would have lost us 10%. Then, right after that, in that range, we would have had our next winning trade, which again would have netted us 10%. And lastly, we would have had another short signal at the beginning of July that would have netted us yet another 10%. This method has a very predictable winning to losing streak. This strategy is very good for setting up a predictable structure for your reward to risk ratios, and generally, as the crossovers that happen in important and significant areas, there's a high probability that they will be correct, and therefore we can set a very relaxed reward to risk ratio of 1. Next, we have an example in Forex. We're going to look at the 4-hour chart of the Swiss franc versus the yen. Again, we're going to have a risk to reward ratio of 1, with our take profit being 30 pips away from a crossover, and our stop loss also being 30 pips away from a crossover. In this example, we would like to show you how the red lines work just as well as the blue lines for this. So we got our first long signal at the beginning of June. The green box and the red box both separately have a height of 30 pips. Here we hit our take profit long before our stop loss would have been hit. Then, just after June 17th, we had the light red line crossing under the dark red line, and if we had taken that crossover the moment it had happened, we would have also, again, netted 30 pips without hitting our stop loss. Again, like clockwork, we have a long signal, we put a take profit 30 pips away and a stop loss 30 pips away also. Again, we hit our take profit. Next, the light red line crosses under the dark red line. Again, 30 pips away and 30 pips away. We hit our take profit again before our stop loss. Then we actually have an interesting situation here where we do hit our stop loss. You can see that in this instance we would have lost 30 pips in this range-bound situation. It's important to remember here not to change the rules of what you're trading. You need to stick to your rules in order to have a successful trading strategy that you can trust the results are because of the strategy and not because of your own management. Again, in this ranging period that we just lost in, we also had a short signal. If we followed that short signal and put our stop loss and take profit both 30 pips away, we again would have taken our take profit. In this instance, the profit and the loss of this ranging situation would have canceled each other out luckily. And in our last example, we want to show an aggressive day trading strategy that works just the same way. However, in this instance, we're only going to be entering these kinds of trades when the blue lines and the red lines both confirm a bullish or a bearish bias. If there is conflicting information between the blue lines and the red lines, where one is bullish and the other is bearish, we are not going to enter this. But remember, it is important to enter at the very moment that they both confirm. So let's look at the 1-minute chart of Apple for one trading day on August the 12th of 2019. In this instance, again, we're going to keep our risk to reward ratio 1. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to have a take profit of 50 cents and a stop loss of 50 cents for Apple. Here, again, it's just like clockwork. All you need to do is set yourself an alert to know exactly when the crossover is happening, come, put in a trade with your take profit and your stop loss, then just walk away and forget about it, with a great probability on your side. First thing already into the trading day, we get a long signal that we put our take profit 50 cents away and our stop loss 50 cents away when the light lines are over the dark lines. Then we have a confirmed short signal, which hits our stop loss 50 cents away, effectively leaving us at break even for the day so far. Just after that, we quickly have another long opportunity, which hits our take profit. Then another short opportunity that hits take profit, and then another long opportunity, which also hits take profit. Then, just after 4 o'clock, we have more confirming signals with the light lines crossing over the dark lines. Again, it just barely hits our take profit in this example. Then, just after 5 o'clock in the evening, we get caught in a range that results in one profitable trade that hits our 50-cent take profit and one trade that generates losses that hits our 50-cent stop loss. The profitable trade actually leads to the emergence of a great downtrend that exists until 7 o'clock in the evening, when we then have a bullish confirmation where the light lines go over the dark lines that a new uptrend is emerging. We then put our take profit 50 cents away and our stop loss 50 cents away. Again, like clockwork, it hits our 50-cent take profit. Before we have a bearish confirmation again, we already have another bullish signal with the light lines on top of the dark lines. This explodes into our 50-cent take profit the very next day. These examples of take profits and stop losses were randomly made for the purposes of demonstrating this method in this video. However, we have compiled a great list of suggested values to use in real trading situations across commodities, across Forex, and cryptocurrencies. If you are to purchase a subscription to this indicator, you will be emailed a file that contains all of the suggested take profits and stop losses that have been tried and tested in the markets. This concludes the Day 3 tutorial for Project Mars by Absidy LLC. Thank you for watching all 3 videos, and hopefully now you are ready to use this indicator profitably in real-life situations. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions about this indicator, please feel free to reach out and contact us through our contact form. We're always excited to answer questions, receive feedback, and incorporate feedback into newer versions of this indicator so that our clients and customers can have even greater profitability, lower risk, and be even happier in the financial markets. Thanks again for watching, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.